Shady, I'm not giving the Steelers a shot at winning the AFC North.
Pittsburgh's 3-2. They feel like they're 1-4. All we've done is complain. All they've done is complain.
And then, of course, I have to throw a little bit of love out there to the little brother, T.J. Watt, best defensive player in the football, ending the game with a sack, his second of the day.
Real quick.
The Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin sent a message to the Baltimore Ravens that if you want to beat the Steel Curtain, you better be ready to grind it out all the way to the end. Week 5 just gave us what might be one of the most unpredictable games of the season. Steelers taking down the Ravens 17-10. At first glance, it sounds like your standard Ravens Steelers grind it all up matchup. But let's be real. The route to that score was anything but ordinary. Steelers are down 10-3 going into the fourth. They kick it in the overdrive. 2 field goals to safety and a touchdown with a botched 2-pointer. When it looked like Baltimore had the reins, Steelers defense and special teams decided to rewrite the script. That block punt for the safety, game changer. Bottom line, Steelers might have been the underdogs on paper, but they pulled it off. And with the 2-0 in the division, they're now sitting pretty at the top of the AFC North. Now, I have a few points that I definitely want to mention to you Steelers fans. The reason why I hate TJ Watt so much is because I love him so much. The man is different, guys. Y'all know this, we know this. Even when you feel like the defense is just coasting, Watt is the only one that you know for a fact is going 110%. You always know that. It might not all pop out on the stat sheet, but anyone watching knows he's always locked in. 2 sacks and that critical fumble recovery late. Like, come on, how does this always happen? He's always getting these weird interceptions, these bat downs. I'm going to actually talk about TJ Watt a little bit later on. I want to get into the other nitty-gritty stuff a little bit first. Now, Matt Canada. I don't know how he's still in charge of the offense, but one thing we all need to come into agreement on, Pittsburgh fans, he's not going anywhere. So stop with the comments, stop with the messages, stop flooding our DMs, stop making the tweets. Matt Canada's not going anywhere. I don't know what allegiance he has with Mike Tomlin or allegiance he has with the organization, but he ain't going anywhere. The Steelers somehow still put out a win, but it felt more like individual heroics than any kind of offensive strategy. It just looked like Jaylen Warren and George Pickett decided, hey, let's just win this game for the team. And that's just what happened. That is a major concern. And I've been on the Kenny Pickett bandwagon since day one. So it hurts to say it, but he's got to step it up or he's got to step out. One or the other. The excuses have to stop. He had moments where he looked lost out there. That late scoring drive, very impressive, but we need that from Kenny all game long. And I'm not going to lie, Steelers fans, that whole preseason buzz of him lighting it up, him doing this, I genuinely saw that as a foreclosure sale on Kenny Pickett himself. I'm not going to lie. That was just way too much hype that they were giving to him when I realized, hey, Matt Canada is still your offensive coordinator. Moving on. For a good chunk of the game, the Steelers offense felt like it was stuck in the mud, and it wasn't until Kenny Pickett and George Pickens started making magic late in the game that we saw in real spark. And honestly, the lack of imagination under Canada's offense, that's not even a headline anymore. But let's talk about Najee Harris, all right? And this is an unfortunate thing that I've been kind of banging on ever since you guys drafted him in the first round. So let's keep everything in perspective. I'm a Bengals fan. This is a guy who was drafted in the first round in 2021 and made it to the Pro Bowl his rookie year. But that was more due to sheer volume than stand-up performance. Fast forward to the Baltimore game, 3.9 yards a carry, and he only managed 37 yards on 14 touches, while Jaylen Warren averaging 4.4 yards a pop and racking up 39 yards through the air. On Sunday, Warren was clearly the better option. So this is the tough question I have for you Steelers fans. Is it time to move on from Najee? We all love him, even me. I understand his personality is bubbly, his story is humbling, but it doesn't seem like things are clicking with this offense. It feels like I've been saying this for the past 2 seasons. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying hand the starting role to Warren and just walk away from the running back room. Not saying that at all. But there's writing on the wall. And Pittsburgh Steelers, I hope y'all can see it too. Because I'm going to tell y'all like this. As a Bengals fan, I hope y'all keep Najee Harris. As a Bengals fan, I hope y'all extend him. As a Bengals fan, I hope he is there for the next 10 years. That's how confident I am in his inability to make the game-breaking plays that I'm sure you all thought he was going to be making. Look, we all know that Harris can take the volume. That's not a question. He's not standing out as elite in the opportunities that he's been given. You get Pickett a legit running back one, and watch how this might help Matt Canada's offense. Steelers front office, you listening to this? Time to shop around, be it free agency or that 2024 draft. There could be some teams that would like to have Najee Harris. That was the ugly part of this whole video, and I hope that didn't piss off too many of my Steelers fans, because we love you. When you are talking about Steelers AFC North victories, there's one name that stands head and shoulders above the rest, and it is the beautiful, sexy TJ Watt. This guy is literally closing out games for Pittsburgh. It's ridiculous. Take that play against Cleveland. Watt takes a sack fumble all the way to the house for the lead. And then against the Ravens, another sack fumble that puts them up by 7, practically shutting the door on any Ravens comeback. And let's not forget that 4th down sack on Lamar Jackson. Sure, Watt got flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct, but when you're making plays like that, who cares, honestly? Now, we're also going to give credit where credit is due. Alex Highsmith, that guy's been impactful, causing both those game-altering fumbles, setting up Watt nicely in the race for Defensive Player of the Year. And I want to be clear, Steelers fans, I know how good Alex Highsmith is. I know the general media doesn't know how good he is, but I do. You guys underratedly have the best duo in the edge department. I'm there for it, even though I hate it. Before Sunday, Watt was already at 6 sacks for the season, a couple of fumble recoveries, and an eye-popping 18 quarterback pressures. As Pro Football Reference, tackle on 2 more sacks and a recovery from Sunday, and you've got yourself a legit resume for MVP. I'm not here for the Defensive Player of the Year anymore. I love TJ Watt's game way too much. I'm over Defensive Player of the Year. That is beneath him. Honestly, I think MVP needs to be where his head's at. And while those stats alone make a strong case for Watt to snatch his 2nd Defensive Player of the Year award, it's the moments he chooses to shine the most that crown him the 2023 frontrunner. He is the most clutch player in the National Football League. Over Mahomes, over what you might think Burrow could do. I'm taking TJ Watt over quarterbacks if I had to do a redraft for my team. I'm there. Steelers fans, we already know Mike Tomlin and Matt Canada have some type of legitimate co-worker friendship, amazing bond that's not going to be broken. I have the highest respects for Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, I got to say this, sorry, Zach Taylor, I respect him more than I respect you. Mike Tomlin is the kind of coach you could lay your head back and say, everything's going to be fine. We got Tomlin, all right? I don't want to disrespect him. I never would do so. But I have to say, if this offense keeps looking this terrible and Matt Canada isn't losing his job, this is going to make a whirlwind for the fans and a disconnect with Mike Tomlin and the organization. This franchise isn't supposed to be missing the playoffs. With or without TJ Watt, it doesn't matter. Things need to look better. Because if I were TJ Watt, and I know he doesn't think this way, but if I were him, I'd be pretty pissed off that I'm doing everything possible for my team and my offense cannot reciprocate that same energy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe.